Thank you so much for coming to our Medair workshops about the power of peptides. Peptides, they are super trendy ingredients right now, and I'm so happy about it because when I started to work with peptides and launched Medair as a brand in 2009, no one been speaking about peptides properly. And for me, from the very first moment, I've seen peptide in the conference. I said that it is the future of skincare because peptides are absolutely amazing molecules. It is a new generation of cosmetic and skincare ingredients which revolutionize our approach to skincare and gives us an amazing, unique opportunity to get the real biohacking of the skin, to ask skin structure to do what we want from them. Boost collagen synthesis, reduce the inflammation, reduce the amount of melanin in the skin, or contract muscles less intensely, and so on. So we have a lot of different abilities, but as I noticed, even 16 hours since the moment I launched Medair as a brand based on peptides, there's still so many people who don't understand what are peptides. So let's start from the ABC. What are peptides used in the skincare or whatever? So peptides, technically, they are short chains of amino acids. If you've seen the thread of pearl, you can imagine peptides quite easily. We have 20 of natural bioidentical amino acids, which we call proteogenics. So they're amino acids which can be used to form any kind of peptides and proteins in our body. For example, collagen. It is a huge protein built from many of short chains of peptides built from amino acids. So the difference between peptides and protein, it's mostly about the quantity of amino acids, not about their quality. Our body is using the exactly same 20 of amino acids to build big proteins or short peptides. So we call peptides chains of amino acids when they are built from 2 until 50 amino acids. Sometimes you can see in some articles and publications that it can be from 2 to hundreds, or sometimes even from 2 to 20. I will say that in the skincare, we are using mostly really short chain of amino acid because they have low molecular size, so they can penetrate into the skin. So speaking about the skincare, we are speaking about small peptides, oligopeptides, and most of them they are formed from 2, 3, 4, at max 9 or 10 amino acids. The amino acid sequence plays a crucial role in the peptide function. You can have pentapeptides built from 5 amino acids. As you can see, you can easily recognize how many amino acids is used in the peptide when you read its name. D peptides, that will be 2 amino acids, 3 peptides, 3 amino acids, tetrapeptides built from 4 amino acids, pentapeptides from 5, and so on and so on. But we have 20 of proteogenic amino acids. And do you know how many variations we can have of pentapeptides built from 5 amino acids, just using different amino acids to build the chain? 3.2 millions of variation. So the variability of peptides is literally endless. And each amino acid has its own function. So the characteristic of each amino acid will define the characteristic of peptides. And if you replace only one amino acid in the chain, you have a new peptide. So now in the skincare, we have about 600 peptides registered for cosmetic use officially. When I started to create first product based on peptides, we've got less than a dozen. And very probably in a few years, we will get thousands of peptides registered for cosmetic use, or even more, because as you see, we can get millions and maybe dozens of millions of them. The question is how they're designed, if they're able to penetrate onto the skin, and what is their function. Molecular biology, they are constantly looking for the new variation of peptides able to interact with different cells. So peptides are used now in the pharmaceuticals, they're used now in the skincare, and literally they are changing right now the medicine in total. So peptides have not only this qualitative amount of the amino acids. So yes, we have different amino acids defining the quality of peptides, but it is not all. Also, what is very important, that's the stereo shape of peptide chain, because yes, they look like pure threads, but in the same time, they form different stereo chain, and this stereo chain changed how they interact with cell structure. Because most of peptides, they are interacting with cell receptors. Imagine the cell receptor as a hand. So peptides should be like a glove, which this hand will be able to wear. So each glove should be in the exact shape of this receptor hand. And changing the stereo shape, we call them enantiomer, we also can change the characteristic of peptide. So you can get the same chain of amino acid turned in different sides, to right, to the left, forming different shape, and it can act differently because it can interact with different cells. And also it is very important how hydrophobic or hydrophilic amino acids are, and what kind of electric ions they have. As you can see, peptide with a positive charge, they bind more easily to the cell's membrane because cell's membrane is hydrophobic. Peptides with neutral, or if they're negatively charged, they interacting with cells less easily. So we are using mostly peptides which charge positively. And also each amino acid can contribute to this hydrophobic property or hydrophilic property of the peptide, and it can affect the position of the amino acid. So as you understand, it's incredibly difficult. So it is a whole peptide science behind each of peptide cosmetic ingredient now. What makes peptide so exciting? What makes peptide ideal ingredients? At least as me, I see peptides as an absolutely ideal ingredient. First of all, their biological identity and their high functionality, because our body is operating with peptides. Our hormones, their proteins, and part of them, they are peptides. Peptides used by our body as regulating molecules, signaling molecules, molecules of homeostasis, so the molecules which are able to maintain this very complex dynamic balance in our body during all our every second adaptation to the external world and many variable external factors. Peptides used for immune system, for our immunity. Peptides used to build our muscles, body muscles, and our organs. Peptides are used for defense, for the growth, for the replication, proliferation, differentiation of our cells, for reproduction. So we cannot live without peptides. We are peptide-based biological being. And if we are able to use peptides smartly, we can really change the skin functionality. And we are on our way to the skin active longevity. I will not say that it is able to reverse skin aging or to stop skin aging, because aging is natural physiological process. We start to age since the moment we are born. But we can make this aging healthier, safer, more delicate. Our whole meaning of the skincare, it is to prevent the degradation, it's prevent destruction of our skin. So with peptides, we can maintain our skin functionality as long as we want to, if we know how to use it. We can have diverse physiological effects using peptides. We can get antioxidant protection, we can get anti-aging effects, collagen boosting effect, moisturizing effect, calming, wound healing, neuromodulating, anti-wrinkles, anti-pigmentation, whatever you want. The question is what kind of peptides you'll be used for it and how you combine peptides with other ingredients. Also, what makes peptide ideal cosmetic ingredients in our modern world is they are cleanliness. To design peptide and to produce peptide, we are using clean technology. Most of peptides, they're designed in the laboratory or they're derived from some plant sources. They can be derived from algae, they can be derived from plants. And technology is it's not simple, it's highly technological, but in the same time, it is clean. So we don't use too much of earth, we don't need this huge plantation, we don't spend a lot of water, and we minimize the spend of the energy. So they are very ecological, they are very sustainable ingredients. And also they are safe because when we are applying peptides topically, it is not absorbed systemically, it is not going to the bloodstream, it is interacted with skin cells receptors, and after it's absorbed and reabsorbed by the body. So it's kind of sustainable ingredient which is reused and recycled by our body. And our body is able to use these amino acids again and again for different purposes. And they are hypoallergenic. We never see allergic reaction to the cosmetic peptides. They are low molecules and our body sees them as bioidentical, so it recognizes them like something familiar, something friendly. So our immune system does not react to peptide used in the skincare formulation. So, as you can see, peptides are absolutely ideal. We have now until 2023, when this classification I took from this great article called Insights into Bioactive Peptides and Cosmetics, published in 2023. And they've been kind of classic classification now, which we call traditional, of 4 categories of peptides. But later it was found, and we have the 5th category of peptides. So it is not all. But you will see these 4 categories of peptides all around you in different kind of published papers. So bioactive peptides used in the skincare, they separated in 4 big categories and the 5th new one. First category, they are cyanopeptides. Also, you can find the name remodeling peptides. Remodeling peptides, that's not another category. Cyanopeptides, they are remodeling. So all remodeling peptides, they are signaling peptide. But not all cyanopeptides are remodeling. We call remodeling peptides these chains of amino acids which are able to boost synthesis of structural elements of the skin. So all collagen boosters, elastin boosters, hyaluronic acid boosters, and boosters of some other peptides, they are going to the category of remodeling. But signaling peptides, they are able to stimulate not only the cells which produce collagen, elastin, and hyaluronic acid, they are able to interact with keratinocytes, cells of the superficial layer of the skin called epidermis, and they can get another function there. They can stimulate the synthesis of essential lipids to build the skin barrier. They can help to maintain the necessary amount of water-holding substances, including amino acid in the superficial layers of the skin, and they can reduce the activity of immune cells in this layer. They can reduce the activity of receptors in this layer, calming the skin and reducing the inflammation. So they can have a lot of function, including the moderation of melanogenesis, so the synthesis of pigment, melanin. So cyanopeptides can be used in many ways, from boosting the collagen synthesis until pigmentation treatment. Next category of peptides called carrier peptides. That's a small category because literally we have only 2 peptides in this category. They are delivering trace elements used for different kind of enzyme-based processes. in our skin. And mostly they're used for regeneration and wound healing. So there's some kind of medical, dermatological peptides, most popular in the dermatology right now. Third category of peptides, they're neurotransmitter inhibiting peptides. Also, we call them neuromodulating. The key word here is neuro. So these peptides are able to interact with the structures of nervous system in the skin. They're able to interact with nervous ending, with different kind of nervous receptors and the structures and the nervous cells. And also they can interact with the nervous muscular junction. So they can reduce the ability of facial muscles to contract. So the most popular category of the neuroinhibiting peptide, they are so-called Botox-like peptides, used for the treatment of expression wrinkles and the prevention of expression wrinkles. And finally, enzyme inhibitors peptides. Enzyme inhibitors peptide, they are reducing the activity of enzymes called matrix metalloproteinases. And these MMP enzymes, among them, we have collagenases, enzyme destroying collagen, elastases, enzymes destroying elastin, and hyaluronidases, enzymes destroying hyaluronic acid. So all these enzymes, they are literally eating the structural elements of the deep skin layers. And they're activated when we are going older. Older we are, more active these collagen-eating enzymes are in our skin. So if you are able to reduce activity of these enzymes, you can preserve and maintain the collagen stock in our skin, or elastin stock in the skin, or hyaluronic acid stock in your skin. And the skin stays stronger, tightened, better moisturized, better hydrated, and keeps the better elasticity. So they're also anti-aging peptides, reducing the breakdown of all structural elements. So let's see a little bit in details about each category. Cyanopeptides. They are active peptides that can prevent the aging process by stimulating skin cells. They can get different of biological responses. For example, they can boost the collagen synthesis. They can boost hyaluronic acid synthesis. They can boost different kind of proteoglycan production. So that's a part of action when they're used in the, now we call it age-well category of the skincare, with an idea to make skin stronger and to prevent the loss of elasticity, to prevent the development of the wrinkles, to slow down the premature skin aging and even biological skin aging. Also, they may act as growth factors, which can be very important for the skin because growth factors, they activate specific proteins responsible for movement of skin cells, migrations of keratinocytes, which we need when the skin is traumatized. We need our keratinocytes, cells of the superficial layer of the skin, to move to form the new skin, which can be renewed and which will be more functional, which will be looking better. So it is a situation like we have, for example, after laser therapy, after laser resurfacing or chemical peels, we need the stimulation for our skin cells to move and to restore and to repair this wound created by aesthetic procedures. Also, what is interesting about the peptides, they are highly complicated chemically. Despite the very small molecules, you remember, built from 2 until 10, maybe 20 amino acids, they have this 3-part structure. First part is positively charged terminal. Another part, it's another terminal, but it will be polar carboxyl. And in the center, we have highly hydrophobic part of the peptides, which interacts with cells membranes, looking for specific receptors to bind and to get some specific function from the cells. And it is highly significant how they do it. So the design of cyanopeptides, defines the function and defines the efficiency of peptides. And not peptides are the same. Sometimes even skin practitioners ask me, if it is possible, I will buy the peptide somewhere online on some AliExpress site because they are offered for low price, like 100 grams of peptides for $100. It's extremely cheap. And I will say no, because to design peptide which is functional, which can be used in the skincare to get the real effect from the skin, it's a highly technological process. So the 100 grams of peptides can cost thousands of dollars. They're not cheap, they're expensive ingredients. But what is good about peptides, we are using them in the very low amount, because as cyanyl molecules, we need a really low concentration of them to get a function, what we are looking for. But still, they are expensive ingredients. What are cyanopeptides, which you can find on the label of the skincare product? Matrixyl. The most popular probably it is Matrixyl 3000. Region peptide, epidermal growth factor, or oligopeptide 1, SH oligopeptide 1, Synco, SynTC, Iceryl used in the eye care formulation, Dicorenyl used in the formulation for sensitive skin and for thin, fragile skin. Pau GHK peptide, also very popular and used for as a collagen booster. Melanostatin, as you can guess from the name, it is a peptide used for the pigmentation treatment. Skinosensil, Ideal Lift, another collagen booster. Calmosensin, and many others. In the category of cyanopeptides, we have hundreds of new peptides registered for cosmetic use because, as you understand, they can act very differently. So it depends on the cells which this peptide interacts. If it interacts with fibroblasts, the cells of the dermis, very probably we have some boosting effect, synthesizing more of structural elements of the skin, or we have some effect of preservation of the structural element. If it interacts with pigment cells, so we are in the area of the pigmentation. If it interacts with immune cells, we can calm down the inflammation and reduce the skin sensitivity. If it interacts with keratinocytes, cells of the superficial layer of the skin in the epidermis, we can have the improvement of barrier function, and so on. So that's the most popular category of peptides. In Medair, we are using a lot of cyanopeptides, and there are a few examples of them. That's one of my favorite products, Lipo-Oval Active Serum, the serum which we are using for face sculpting effect, or sometimes it's called for face contouring effect, by analogy with the body contouring. So we address the fat tissue in the deep layers, in the subdermal layers of the skin. And also Lipo-Oval Active Serum is used as an anti-puffiness treatment. We're using here some plant-derived ingredients such as caffeine derived from the green coffee, combined with the skin-identical vitamin B3, niacinamide, energizing the skin, and peptides. First peptide called Ideal Lift, cyanopeptides, which is designed to fight gravity-related changes in the skin. So it prevents the skin sagging and it restores this vertical elasticity of the skin, boosting the synthesis of structural elements, helping to prevent these gravity changes and helping to reduce these vertical lines and wrinkles, especially in the low part of the face, and redefining the jawline. And another peptide that's a kind of combination, complex of fat-splitting proteins derived from the red algae called Slim XS complex. It works mostly reducing puffiness of the face and helping to reduce the fat pocket volume. So it's really good for the double chin treatment, or for the, sometimes it's called even kind of topical Ozempic treatment. So that's how peptides work in Lipo-Oval. Another example, it's our Armolift active serum, which sometimes called by skin practitioner dermatologists hormone replacement therapy for the skin. So what acts as a hormone replacement therapy. That's mostly biofermented metabiotic resveratrol, which is binding estrogen receptors in skin cells. Also, we are using here apple stem cells, bioactive compounds activating collagen synthesis, but we have peptides here, epidermal growth factor, oligopeptides derived from the leaves of Australian wild tobacco, and it acts as a perfect collagen booster, providing us with at least 4 types of collagen necessary for our skin elasticity. Collagen first type, creating the structure of the skin. Collagen fourth types, creating the capillary bed in the deep skin layer, and collagen of fourth and seventh types, restoring the skin integrity, thickness, and tightness. So, alongside with prebiotics, peptides, and plant-derived extract, as you can see, it does the miracle. And it can be used alongside with Armolift face masks. We have Armolift Biofacial using this peptide-based active serum and peptide-based Armolift mask. Also, it is some hormone replacement therapy, again, because it restores the sensitivity of skin cells, even to the lower concentration of estrogens circulating in female body during menopausal changes. But we are using here, again, peptide epidermal growth factors as a powerful collagen booster, another sign of peptides, working as an element restoring the skin structure. But here we are using it alongside of single amino acid called arginine. It is kind of a skin and muscles building amino acid, even more potentiating this collagen boosting result. As you can see, we use peptide in the eye care as well. That's our Blephariite eye cream, designed to fight under eye circles and under eye bags. It improves the microcirculation. We are using here plant-derived extracts such as escin derived from the horse chestnut or caffeine derived from the coffee, alongside with bioidentical vitamin B3, but that's not all. Because here one of the, and probably the key ingredient, it is peptide called eye cereal, designed especially for the eye area, boosting the specific collagen synthesis in this area, improving and increasing the skin elasticity, but also fighting the glycation. Because so-called sugar phase created by glycation process in the skin, one of the early symptoms of this, they're under eye bags, because the fat tissue in this area is more fluffy, so it retains more of liquids, creating this specific puffiness, and also it just changes the skin elasticity. And reducing the skin elasticity creates this under eye bag, which is so difficult to treat. But with Blephariite cream, we have great results because peptides are able to restore the skin functionality. So after 6-8 weeks of using peptide-based Blephariite solution, you will see that your under eye bags are reduced and dark circles are much less visible or even eliminated. Another eye care solution called Blephari Rich. It's richer, it's more nutritional because it's based on oil, olive squalane and jojoba oil, smoothing and nourishing, restoring the skin barrier. And once again, we use peptide here, peptide complex called SYN-TC, built from 2 different peptides. Both of them act as a collagen boosters, and also they are able to stimulate different collagen types in this specific eye area. They are acting as wrinkle-reducing ingredients, they prevent the formation of the wrinkles, and they help to improve the tightness and improve the elasticity of eyelids. You can apply it directly under the eyebrow or around your eyes, and it helps to contract, it helps to restore the elasticity not only of the skin and the crowfeet area, but of the eyelids themselves. And also the calm down the sensitive skin. Here we are using specific probiotic-prebiotic complex to reduce the skin irritation and to restore skin comfort. And another product for neck area. Why it's different from facial cream? Because of peptide. We are using here very innovative, interesting peptide called region, it's biologically identical. It is a fragment of the human immunoglobulin. So when it acts on the skin, it boosts the synthesis of all structural elements, but mainly elastin. Because for the neck, elastin, it is a key protein. In the neck, we have the circular movement, which we don't have on the face, and elastin is kind of steel-like protein, stronger than collagen, creating the specific elasticity of the neck skin. And circular lines, they are formed by the deficiency of the elastin in the skin. So when you boost the elastin production, you reduce circular lines and you prevent their formation. And also you can significantly improve the skin tightness and the skin elasticity in the neck and décolleté area. And we use it alongside with our traditional well-loved ingredients such as sweet almond oil, creating this nourishing velvety structure of the Armaneck cream, and high concentration of alpha-tocopherol, vitamin E, acting as a powerful antioxidant for this area. So you see we have a lot of cyanopeptides which can be used for different purposes. Another category of peptides, we call them carrier peptides. You remember that they are peptides based on trace element. They are active compounds that are able to deliver wound healing cofactors and activate different enzyme processes in the skin for wound healing process, regeneration, and even regeneration after the sunburns and sun-induced damage. Here we are using two trace elements. First, it is a copper. Copper, it is kind of the healing metal, and it also acts as a cofactor for different enzymes involved in the healing and regeneration process in the skin. Another trace element, it is manganese. So in manganese is essential nutrient which is involved in the synthesis and different kind of metabolic process, including cholesterol metabolism, amino acid metabolism, antioxidant protection, carbohydrate metabolism, but also manganese-based enzyme called manganese superoxide dismutase is very important in the natural defense against the ultraviolet for the skin. So we have two peptides here. First called copper, tripeptide, cuprum GHK peptide, which is promoting the collagen synthesis and restoring the extracellular matrix of the skin. It's used mostly as a post-care peptide in all kinds of regenerating products. And manganese tripeptide 1, manganese GHK, which is formulated to get the similar effect for sunburned skin. So manganese GHK you see mostly in the after sun innovative skincare. Another category, neurotransmitter inhibiting peptides. They are active compounds able to interact with different structure of nervous system. So they can prevent muscle contraction. They can reduce the intensity of the muscle contraction in the skin. And they can interact with nerves ending in the skin responsible for pain reaction or redness reaction or sensitivity reaction. Also, these peptides, how they act, they penetrate into the skin, interacting with muscles, fibers entwined into the skin. So they are not penetrating until the deepest level. They are not going through epidermis, dermis, fat tissue, until the muscles tissue in the body. So they are not going to the deep fascial muscles. They stay in the skin, but their fascial muscles forming our expression wrinkles, they are entwining into the skin, using the skin as the second point of attraction, as the second bones, because all kinds of our muscles in our body, they are attached to our bones. For example, muscles of our arms. One point of this muscles is attached to the shoulder. Another point of the muscles can be attached to the underarm. And when the muscle is contracting, we can move our underarm, approach it to the shoulder. In the upper face and mid part of the face, Some of our muscles, they are attached not only to the bones, to the skull, but another part is attached to the skin, using it as a bones. In the lower part of the face, it's still the same. It's still like a body. One part is attached to one part of the skull, another part, for example, to our mandibular, helping us to open and close the mouth. But on the forehead skin acts like a bone. So when the muscle contracts, it moves the skin, and forming the wrinkles and line at the end of the day when it moves regularly in the same zone, creating some kind of the regular muscles and contractions there. So if we can relax muscles, we can prevent this lines formation, and that's what is possible to do with injections of botulinum toxin. Botulinum toxin generate muscles. It's kind of intoxication of muscles with a paralyzing effect. But peptides, they are not toxic. So the mechanism of action is different. It just interacts with different neuromediator, preventing the release of acetylcholine, which is the mediator stimulating the muscle contraction, activating the process of the muscle contraction. If the acetylcholine is not released, or if it is released partially in the small amount, the muscles will not contract or will contract very smoothly. And that's what we do with peptides. We just block partially the acetylcholine release, or we can intervene in the cascade of these biochemical changes on different layers, interacting with calcium channels, interacting on the presynaptic level before muscles on the nervous fiber side, or we can interact on the muscle side, on the postsynaptic level, slowing this release and reducing the amount of the neuromediator released into the space between nerves and muscles. And also we can reduce the sensitivity of the muscles for the rest of acetylcholine. So we can use different peptides combining the action. Also, it can interact with nerve sending, it can interact with skin cells receptors involved in the redness reaction or pain reaction. Peptides used as for Botox-like effects, there are many of them now. When I launched our first product, MyoFix Active Serum for wrinkles treatment in 2009, it was based on one peptide, arginine, and it was probably the only peptides which existed at this time. Now we have the choice of dozen or even more neuromodulating peptide. So it's still arginine, but also Cinake, Lufazil, Vilox, New Monopsis, SNAP8, Neurosensine, and also we can use peptides for pain reaction and redness reaction, such as Calmosensine and Skinosensil. And in Medair, we use a lot of neuromodulating peptides. First and probably our most famous product based on neuromodulating inhibiting peptides, it's MyoFix Active Serum. I even didn't put the arrows here because it's product based on 5 peptides. Only not peptide ingredient here. It's a probiotic derived from kimchi to restore the skin microbiome and help to moisturize the skin and preserve the MyoFix Active Serum as well. So we use here peptide arginine, which was the first Botox-like peptide, targeting protein SNAP complex in the formed for the muscle contraction in the nervous engines. Peptide Lufazil, which mimics effect of endorphin hormones. We are using here peptide ideally to Neurosensine, which combats the loss of elasticity, acting as a signaling neuromodulating peptide, in the same time playing for both teams and fighting the gravity changes. We use this peptide in the lipo-oval active serum as well. Newest peptide, Monopsis, interacting with nerve sending and muscle cells in the same time, so it's the first peptide able to interact on presynaptic and postsynaptic level. And signaling peptide, Matrixil, collagen booster. So we are not only reduce the muscle contraction. We help to fill this line and fill the wrinkles with a fresh collagen. So it's probably the most concentrated peptide-based product on the market. We use almost 30% of peptides here. And we have MyoFix Active Mask, which is used in biofacial MyoFix, both active cream and mask, and it can be used in the home care on the weekly basis. Once again, a lot of peptide. Neuromodulating peptide, SYN-AIC, inspired by the peptide of the viper venom with a paralyzing effect. It's a fragment of the peptide from the venom of snake, Wagleri, called Waglerin, and this is viper Wagleri. And these peptides relax the muscles, restoring this serene face expression, so acting as a happy face peptide. Peptide matrixyl, cyanopeptide, and peptide skin essential, another neuromodulating peptide with a calming effect because it interacts not with the muscles but with pain receptors and redness receptors in the skin. So with MyoFix mask, you have collagen booster, you have face relaxing peptide, and you have calming anti-inflammatory peptide, all combined in the same time for this global action. And another mask with neuromodulating peptide, Luminoderm brightening mask. That's a peptide skin essential, which calms down the skin, reduces the inflammation, which is extremely important for the pigmentation treatment because it prevents the post-inflammatory pigmentation and reduces the post-inflammatory pigmentation at the same time. So the best mask to use after all kind of intense pigmentation treatments, such as laser resurfacing, laser pigmentation therapy, IPL pigmentation therapy, or chemical peels. Alongside with peptide called melanostatin. It is cyanopeptide, once again in a combination with neuromodulating peptide. And melanostatin prevents hormonal-induced pigmentation. So Luminoderm peptide-based mask can be used for prevention of pregnancy mask, can be used for prevention and treatment of hormonal-influenced pigmentation of the face, and post-inflammatory pigmentation. So very combined action alongside with other brightening ingredients, including probiotic complex, gluconolactone, and efficiently treating the pigmentation and preventing the pigmentation. So don't forget Luminoderm mask when you are going on holidays. And also it's the first thing to have on your skincare shelf after you know good news about the pregnancy. And the last product, which I just cannot avoid to mention it, it is peptide-based deodorant, probably the only peptide-based deodorant in the world, called Body Day. It is deodorant, biological deodorant based on probiotics and stem cells of noni plants, helping to break down the biofilm, causing this typical sweat smell in the underarm and all area reach of sweat glands, because sweat odor is caused by bacteria, not by the sweat itself. But we are using here peptide, calmosensine, to calm down the inflammation, because in the hardly sweating area, it's very often they are irritated and inflamed. It can be the area under the breast when the breast is quite heavy. It can be the underarm area or any other area in the body, including the intimate zone. And when you calm down the inflammation in this zone, it also helps to reduce the unwanted odor of the sweat, and also it's calm down all discomfort and reduce discomfort and improve the quality of the skin, preventing the hyperpigmentation as well, which can be very important of many people suffering from the hyperpigmentation in the sweating or intimate zone. And another category of peptide, enzyme inhibitor peptide. So you remember the cyanopeptide we used to boost collagen synthesis. Enzyme inhibitor peptide we are using to preserve the existing collagen. And actually it is very important because we synthesize collagen actively in our young age. The peak of the collagen synthesis happens in our body when we are 25, 27 years old. After this, we don't stop to produce collagen in our body, but we produce really smaller amount of the collagen. But in the same time, the collagen should not be destroyed very actively if everything is going well. And the half-life time of the collagen is about 15 years, so everything your skin synthesized in your mid-20s will be used by your skin until your early 50s. Under one condition: if the degradation of the collagen is not overactive. But a lot of external factors, they are collagen degrading. They activate the destruction of the collagen in your skin. It can be the stress, it can be some hormonal influence, and it is the ultraviolet. The sun-damaged skin always lose a lot of collagen. And also menopausal changes can lead to the loss of about 30% of the collagen during the first years of the menopause. So we should not only boost collagen production, we should use a lot of efforts to preserve the existing collagen and to reduce the activity of these collagen-eating enzymes. That's why we need these enzyme inhibitory peptides. They are active compounds which can directly or indirectly reduce the activity of collagenases, collagen-eating enzymes, elastases, elastin-eating enzymes, and hyaluronidases, enzymes destroying the hyaluronic acid in the deep layers of our skin. And there are three types of peptides which are scientifically proven to be able to reduce activity of enzymes destroying the skin structure. First type of enzymes, they are derived from soybeans. They are comprised of 3 until 6 amino acids, so they're still very small. And they possess different biological activity. They are antioxidants, they are enzyme inhibiting, and they even use in the pharmacology, because these enzymes derived from soybeans used as blood lipid-lowering compounds and blood pressure-lowering compounds. So the new peptides used for the arterial hypertension treatment, but also in the skincare. Another category, they are rice-derived peptides. Their molecular weight is slightly higher. So with soybeans-derived peptides, we are still in the frame of 500 Dalton when molecules can penetrate into the skin without additional help. Rice-derived peptides, they're still small, also under 500 Dalton, a little bit bigger than soybeans-derived. And they also inhibit the activity of elastases, collagenases, hyaluronidases, and they are epigenetically active in the superficial layer of the skin as well, helping to improve the water holding capacity of the skin. And finally, peptides obtained from the silkworm. The silk-derived peptide obtained from the Bombyx mori silkworm, and this peptide is anti-inflammatory, and in the same time it's antioxidant and also helping to slightly decrease the collagenase activity. But mostly silk peptides are used as an anti-inflammatory compounds. We are using enzyme inhibiting peptides as well. For example, in our circadian biohacking cream, we use soy peptides, which boost the night collagen synthesis around the midnight during the deep sleep phase. If you don't sleep well, the deep sleep phase will be the first one affected by the sleep disturbance. And if you don't have enough of the deep sleep, unfortunately, your skin is not able to produce enough of collagen during the night, refold this collagen, restore the skin structure, and have enough of energy for all this night-related regeneration process, regulated circadianly. So with the Circa Night cream, we are using different ingredients such as probiotics, Ice Awake and Cirtalize, to energize the skin, to produce enough of energy during the night time, to refold and restructure this collagen structure into the skin, in the deeper layer of the skin, and also soy peptides as enzyme inhibiting peptides. So we boost collagen synthesis during the night and reduce the collagen destruction during the nighttime. And also we refold collagen fibers, restoring this regular skin architecture and energize the skin. Also, we use the same soy peptides in the specific Armor Bust firming cream for breast and décolleté. And also in this area, we need a lot of action. We need to boost collagen synthesis. But first and foremost, this area is very much exposed to the high activity of collagen-destroying enzymes, collagenases. And soy peptides help to prevent it and help to maintain the skin tightness and the elasticity, alongside with plant-derived Kaigelia africana fruit extract, pullulan derived from algae, and niacinamide, vitamin B3, energizing vitamin. And finally, we are coming to the newest category of peptide, called skin penetration enhancement peptides, categorized only during the last year. And now that's kind of the new hope, a new trend in the transdermal drug delivery in the pharmacology. But also they can be used in the skincare. They are peptides which can increase the skin permeability, improving the penetration not only of themselves, but also of all other ingredients in the same formulation. So it facilitates the delivery of other molecules, including larger molecules, larger peptides, growth factors, or even larger plant-derived ingredients. They interact with skin proteins in a very specific way, creating what we call pores or biochemical elevators, leading to the dermis layer and helping to travel to ingredients from the formulation based on the skin penetrating peptides. What is very interesting, they are not altering the skin lipid barriers. They are not dissolving lipid. They are not compromising skin barrier function. They're just creating biochemical elevator which are opening and closing like elevator in the skyscraper buildings. You just push the button, peptide opens the door, all ingredients are going inside, going to the lowest floor, to the dermis, door is opened, everyone is released, and door is closed. And once again, the barrier is intact and the skin is healthy. So the cell-penetrating or pore-forming peptides can be antimicrobial peptide, also the space peptide, polyarginine peptide, which help to boost collagen based on the sequence which is prevalently built from arginine amino acid. Dermis localizing peptide, restoring the skin integrity, and skin penetrating linear peptide, used mostly for the penetration, and also the very new pure white X50 peptide, used for pigmentation treatment. And in Medair, we launched Luminoderm Innovative Skin Brightening Cream in 2024, last year. And it's built on this innovative peptide. I believe that Medair was one of the first brands using skin-penetrating peptide in our formulation, alongside with cysteamine, based on the derived from the amino acid brightening ingredient of the skin with antioxidant property, able to change the skin color in the overpigmented area. Tranexamic acid, used as an anti-senescence ingredient, so helping to restore the skin elasticity and prevent age-related changes in the skin, alongside with brightening and anti-inflammatory effect. And finally, our big proud peptide Pure White X50. It's called Cosmetic Drone. It's built from two peptides. One of them acts as a skin-penetrating peptides, going and creating this elevator in the skin, going directly to melanocytes. And it interacts only with overexpressed pigment cells. When they're producing too much of melanin, it doesn't interact with healthy pigment cells, which are producing the optimal amount of melanin. After another compound used to link peptides together, it is polymerized glycolic acid, opens the door in the pigment cells, injecting the second peptide inside the pigment cells. And this peptide reduces the amount of melanin in these cells and prevents the pigment synthesis that restores the optimal activity of melanin synthesis in the pigment cells. So it is not only the pigmentation treatment, it is the prevention of pigmentation disorders in the future. So that's absolutely amazing ingredient. I'm so happy we've been able to use it, one of the first. And Luminoderm cream, it is a great brightening skin product suitable for all skin types, including highly sensitive skin. It is pregnancy safe, and it can be used by people with all skin colors and shades because, as you can see, it interacts only with overexpressed pigment cells. So it's literally restoring your individual healthy skin color, not whitening it. And peptides can be used together. This is the picture of 4 different categories. So they have different functions. Cyanopeptides can stimulate fibroblasts. Neurotransmitter inhibiting peptide can relax muscles. Used together, they have this anti-wrinkle global effect because neurotransmitter inhibiting relaxing muscles, preventing wrinkles formation and diminishing existing lines. But cyanopeptides, they're filling these lines with a new fresh collagen smartly. So with bioavailability, what happens in the skin? What can bother us and prevent the full peptides penetration to the skin? What can diminish the peptides effects of the skin? So simply speaking, why not all peptide-based products are amazingly efficient? Because in vitro, all of these ingredients, they show incredible effects. But sometimes you're buying some products based on peptides and you can be disappointed because it doesn't work like it was promised. Actually, peptides, as they're bioidentical compounds, they interact with the skin biologically. So it can be very complex interaction. And it can be based on the peptide property. So, for example, peptide can be designed not very efficiently, so it can depend on the laboratory. It can penetrate into the skin differently because the skin is different. If your skin is too thick, it's not properly exfoliated. If the stratum corneum on the skin is hyperkeratinized and covered by the dead cells and different kind of debris, peptides will not be able to penetrate onto the skin. So when you're using peptide-based product, it's very important to use high-quality dermatological cleanser for the skin and exfoliate the skin regularly to be able to maintain the smooth skin texture, helping peptides to penetrate onto the skin properly. Also, it can be an area of application. For example, if you apply neurotransmitter inhibiting Botox-like peptides all around your face, it will not interact with your muscles properly. It should be applied directly on the line, in the upper part of the face, on the forehead, 11 lines in the glabella, on crow's feet. That's no point to apply Botox-like peptide on your cheeks or on your chin. They will not work there because they need to interact with muscles in your skin. And they will interact with the muscles only in the area when the muscles are entwined into the skin. And also there can be different pharmacotechnical properties of the formulations. Peptides, they are quite fragile. So if the formulation contains some acidic compounds, it can destroy peptides in the bottle, even before then you apply it on the skin. But also you can degrade peptides when you apply some acidic formulation on your skin. For example, some product based on the glycolic acid containing some kojic acid, ferulic acid, and even vitamin C, if you apply peptide-based solution immediately after your acid-based toner or serum, it will destroy peptide bonds. Simple as is. So when you're using peptides, please follow recommendation of the brand which produced peptide-based solution. If you are using our BioFix active cream to treat your forehead wrinkles, please use it alongside with our cleansers, non-acidic serum, and followed by the moisturizer, which acts in the synergy with peptides. We can guarantee the synergy. If you mix up brands, no one can say how it will act. Also, peptide should have the molecular weight less than 500 Dalton. So, peptide should be built from 2 until 8 amino acids. It's a maximum for peptides to be able to penetrate into the deeper layer of the skin. Also, we can play here with different kind of chemical properties of peptide solutions. So, speaking biochemically, log partition coefficient should be between 1 and 3. Peptides should have no or very few of polar center, which can be the problem with sinyl peptides. So, not of them are ideal for cosmetic use. Also, it should have moderate solubility and the melting point under 200 Celsius degrees. So biochemical properties are very important for peptides bioavailability. And also, as you probably remember, the positively charged peptide, they penetrate into the skin better. And also, it opens the door for the microcurrent therapy, helping to achieve better effect of peptides. So if you want to get maximum of your peptide biofacial, for example, you can use microcurrent therapy. And that's what we recommend to do in the clinical setting, using all of our Medair biofacial, because all of them are based on peptides. And with an addition and combination with the microcurrent therapy, we can have really impressive clinical results. And also, the structure of peptide defines its fragility, because you remember, it's kind of pair of thread. And this thread can be damaged because these bonds between peptides, they are strong, but in the same time delicate. And they are very sensitive to pH of the solution. So once again, everything changing the pH of the skin, especially acidifying the skin, can just negate the effect of peptide by destroying the peptide structure. And also, there are different enzymes which can destroy peptide bonds, because you remember this matrix metalloproteinases, collagenases. They are destroying collagen by destroying bonds between amino acids. And you can guess that collagenases can be potentially dangerous for cosmetic peptides as well, because if they can destroy the bonds between amino acids and collagen, they can destroy bonds between amino acid and cosmetic peptides. So if these metallomatrix proteinases are very active in the skin, especially in the superficial layers, your peptides can be in danger. And why it happens and when it happens? When the skin is intensely sun damaged, when the skin is exposed to the ultraviolet, when the skin is exposed to the air pollution, it makes peptide-based skincare less efficient. So, first thing to remember when using peptide-based solution, you should use sunscreen when you are going outdoors and the ultraviolet is more intense than index of ultraviolet 2, or sometimes for sensitive skin it's even safer just to use sunscreen anytime when you're going outdoors, and also to use antioxidant skincare, because all types of free radicals in the skin, they are triggering and provoking processes which can be potentially damaging for cosmetic peptides. So peptides act much more efficiently alongside with antioxidant formulations. That's why it's very often combined with different antioxidants, for example, niacinamide or caffeine or resveratrol, but also to increase the efficiency of peptides. In Medair, we always recommend to use antioxidant serum. Antioxidant serum can increase the efficiency of peptide-based product up to 30 and even 50%. So please don't forget about your daily skincare routine. It is a mistake to think that you can take the peptide-based solution and just use it all alone with the same effect. All peptide-based solution acts better in the synergy with specific solution of the skincare routine built for the synergy. And also there can be some intrinsic factors, including extreme weather conditions. So if you are exposed to extreme cold, if you're exposed to extreme hot, it can damage peptides because it's activating some enzymes in the skin. So you see, it can be complicated, but the rule is that when your skin is protected properly, when your skin is properly moisturized and get enough of antioxidant on the daily basis, you can get these impressive results from your peptide-based solution and peptides biofacial, and you can eliminate wrinkles. You can eliminate pigmentation. You can reduce your under eye bags. So literally you can do everything. Just you should use your peptide-based innovative skincare properly. And to achieve the best penetration of peptides into the skin, we are using different kinds of biochemical enhancers. That's a list of substances which can be used as an enhancers for peptides penetration. And for skin practitioner, for dermatologists, it can be interesting. There are a few categories of them. Sulfoxides, the most known is dimethyl sulfoxide and dimethylformamide. They alters the keratin structure in the skin. They can be fatty acid derived from castor oil or olive oil most of the time. They increase the skin diffusion, dissolving some lipids in the skin barrier. And it can be safe and very much helping for the penetration of peptides. Alcohols, different alcohols, they disrupt the skin barrier, but they can help to the peptides penetration. Glycols, they improve the partition property of peptides, so they are acting smarter than alcohol and much safer. Urea, it increases the water content of the skin, changing the water gradient in the skin, helping to peptides going deeper and more efficiently. Different kind of terpenes and terpenoids, mostly derived from essential oils. Actually, essential oils, they are natural enhancers for everything. If you apply essential oil on the skin, everything going with this essential oil will go deeper. But in the same time, it can be allergenic, it can provoke different kind of inflammatory processes on the skin, it can be irritating, but peptides still, they used as an enhancer. Unfortunately, they disrupt the lipid barrier quite significantly. And surfactants. Surfactants, they are ingredients just forming and changing the structure of the lipid skin barrier, introducing all other ingredients with them because it disrupts the barrier function. Not all of these enhancers are safe enough at my point of view. So in Medair, we are using only 3 categories, but we are using them to achieve the maximal penetration of peptides in the skin, so we can minimize the potentially disrupting effect of different external and intrinsic factors. So your skin can get more of peptide immediately after the application, despite that probably it was sun damaged. Or you have some age-related changes of the skin and high free radicals activity or high enzyme activity in the skin. Using enhancer, we make our peptide more predictable and better penetrating. So we are using glycols, which act as a gradient concentration modulator. We are using butylene glycol and dipropylene glycol mostly. We are using oleic acid derived from the olive oil. We are using carbolic acid and hydrogenated castor oil, especially in masks, alongside with glycols. It helps to create what we call lipid bridge to the deeper skin layer, helping to penetrate peptides and other ingredients with fat-soluble parts. And urea, increasing the water gradient in the skin, helping peptides to travel safely in the deeper skin layer. Also, it activates the keratolytical activity, so it optimizes the skin renewal in the same time. All of these ingredients, we are using in all of our masks. So every time when you apply Medair mask, you have this full peptide effect in your skin. You can be sure of it. But also some of them we are using in our other formulation to help the full penetration of peptide and the full biological action. So peptides, now you understand it better. They're absolutely amazing, biologically active, biologically identical molecules which we can use in skincare to help your skin stay healthy, useful, and very functional for many years, much longer than skin can stay functional without any help. Unfortunately, if you not help your skin, it will not stay useful itself. So please help your skin with peptides and enjoy your healthy skin, skin comfort, and useful appearance.